The hero of our story is the strongest sage who saved mankind from the invasion of monsters and their king. But exhausted by the deadly battle, he died. Fortunately for him, this is not the end. He is reborn in the body of a boy 50 years later and enters the Academy of Magic to become the strongest again. Will he succeed? Let's find out. Hachami wakes up, shocked to find he's alive despite using all his magic. He questions the situation and doesn't believe he's still alive. Looking at himself in the mirror, he's shocked by his new appearance. A doctor enters the room along with the nurse. She addresses our boy as Kusanagi, and he becomes more confused as he hears the unfamiliar name. The doctor asks him to lay down and tries checking his injuries. He removes the bandages and is surprised to find that the protagonist has been healed completely. He is unable to believe what he's seeing. The doctor remembers he was in horrible condition just the other day after a traffic accident and losing consciousness. He wonders how the boy has already healed so quickly. The doctor thinks it's like being healed by holy magic. Kusanagi is confused to learn about the traffic accident and reveals that his body can automatically heal itself using holy magic powers. He asks the doctors if his magic power has run out, but they don't understand what he's trying to say. He tells them he was in the middle of fighting monsters during the calamity. The doctor and nurse both get shocked by his words. The doctor asks the boy if he still remembers his name and the year it is right now. Ichami states his name and believes it is still 1970, but the doctor assumes he is experiencing a squela and calls it a memory impairment issue. The doctor informs the boy that his real name is Kusanagi Minato, and the current year is 2022. Kusanagi becomes confused, and it's hard for him to believe all of this. He looks at the doctor and assumes the guy is telling the truth. He notices a TV and wonders how it is so thin and has such a clean image as well. The protagonist finds a calendar and confirms it really is 2022. He is shocked to see a thin device in the nurse's hands. Our boy becomes confused and starts wondering if he really is in the future. The doctor reveals some information about the calamity our boy mentioned. He remembers it happened 50 years ago, but never happened again since. The protagonist is unable to believe his words and questions what happened to all the monsters. The doctor calls it a peaceful era and reveals that there are barely any monsters now. Kusanagi finds out the world has finally achieved true peace and becomes relieved. He thanks God and starts smiling. The doctor tells him that Ichami, the person he is talking about, died in the calamity 50 years ago.
He is considered a hero who sacrificed his own life to save the world. The doctor doesn't believe Kusanagi is Ichimi Atsumu. Our boy assumes he died 50 years ago and somehow was able to reincarnate into Kusanagi Minato. He does not understand how this happened. And as a week passes by, he finally enters his apartment and checks out Kusanagi's room. He feels sad as he learns about the old Kusanagi's life. His parents passed away when he was just a little kid. He also got kicked out by his new foster parents and was sent to a shitty boarding school. Ever since all this happened, Kusanagi has been surviving using his parents' inheritance. The protagonist has never heard of something known as reincarnation magic. He wonders if the reincarnation he is experiencing is the work of a god. Maybe it all happened randomly? He looks at Kusanagi's Magic Academy card and remembers that back in his days, there was no such thing as a Magic Academy. He finds it interesting. All of a sudden, his phone starts ringing. He wonders what it is and picks up his phone. He sees someone named Tadano calling him, but doesn't understand what he should do. Kusanagi decides to ignore it and throws away his phone. It keeps ringing and a message pops up. Tadano says he knows our boy got discharged from the hospital and requests Kusanagi to come back to school already as he is running out of money. The next day, our boy attends the Magic Academy, and as he enters the school, he starts looking around. He finds it exciting to be attending school again as an adult. As he is enjoying the moment, he notices a random student use his magic abilities to attack a dummy doll. Kusanagi becomes disappointed to see the scene and wonders why everyone has such weak magic powers. He observes more students and realizes all of them are complete crap. It's hard for him to believe. He remembers even the newbies from his time were 10 times stronger than these pathetic students. They doubt they will ever succeed as magicians. And even though it is a peaceful era, he doesn't understand why magic declined to such an extent. He enters his classroom and finds his chair. He starts feeling excited about his academic life and wonders if he has any friends in the classroom. Suddenly, a red-haired student appears with 2 more kids. He questions why our boy ignored his texts, even though he is just Kusanagi. The protagonist doesn't recognize the guy, so he politely asks his name. Tadano becomes angry and kicks the table as he states his name again. He calls Kusanagi weak and a piece of trash, but our boy doesn't take him seriously.
Remembers it's the guy who is calling him. He assumes Tadano is his friend. Tadano smiles wickedly and pulls out his hand, asking for money. Kusanagi assumes he's a good friend and holds his hand passionately, hoping they can get along well. Tadano becomes angry and grabs him by his collar while demanding money. He tries to scare Kusanagi and believes he has a lot left from his parents' inheritance. Kusanagi finally understands the situation and finds out that his old self was being bullied. Tadano tries to throw a punch to put our boy in his place, but out of nowhere, a blue-haired girl with a beautiful face enters the classroom. She wishes everyone a good morning. Her pretty smile calms down Tadano. He decides to let our boy go, but makes it clear that he is expecting money from him. Later, Kusanagi becomes annoyed, but the bully finally leaves the classroom. The class finally begins, and the teacher starts talking about the Great Calamity, also known as the Final Calamity. 50 years ago, monsters appeared all across the world and humanity despaired because of them. But the great sage known as Ichami Atsumu remained determined to save humanity. He never gave up and destroyed all the monsters by himself. He finally confronted the demon god known as the Calamity Boss, the reason behind the whole phenomenon. Ichami risked his own life to defeat the final boss, and ever since that day, Calamity has never returned. The teacher starts asking the students about the great sage. The blue-haired girl from earlier raises her hand. Her name is Mitsuha. The teacher gives her permission to answer the question. She says Ichami is the great sage and the first ever magician who survived the first calamity. He is also behind the reason their academy was built. Her eyes start sparkling with excitement as she shares that Ichami is the hero of humanity, the idol of every magician across the world. The teacher confirms she is correct and teaches the class about the great sage who survived the first calamity and was the first to learn how to use magic. The academy was created to make more magicians just like him. He is the strongest magician in human history. The teacher advises them to learn about him and prepare for the upcoming test. The protagonist starts feeling embarrassed as he hears everyone praising Ichami. He was not expecting such torture and starts regretting joining the academy. He remembers what the doctor said and assumes everyone has weak magic because now the world is at peace. He looks outside his window and starts smiling as he enjoys his new peaceful life. The teacher finally ends the class and hopes everyone is prepared for the magic power assessment exam tomorrow. Tadano approaches the protagonist again and asks if he heard what the teacher said. He is excited and believes it's going to be fun seeing Kusanagi's dog magic abilities. Our boy wonders why the bully isn't shutting up. He decides to leave the classroom, and as he walks away, Tadano points out that even his parents had no magic abilities. The bully calls him an orphan and starts laughing at him. The protagonist finally starts talking back. Tadano becomes angry as he hears Kusanagi insulting him. His patience runs out,
and he starts activating some kind of fire magic. The classmates become shocked and try to stop him. One of them wonders if he is really going to use such a spell inside the classroom. Tadano fires the magic spell towards our boy, hoping he dies. The blue-haired girl moves forward to stop him, but she ends up being too late. As he sees the fire blast coming towards him, the protagonist stands completely unfazed. The magic attack hits him hard, and all the students step back. Mizuha calls it stupid and warns him not to use magic in such a meaningless fight, not wanting anyone hurt. Tadano defends himself, blaming Kusanagi and refusing to accept his fault. The students grow concerned about our boy, but as the smoke clears, Kusanagi comes out unscathed. The students are surprised, and he admits he got caught off guard. Tadano, scared, questions why Kusanagi is still standing despite taking the magic attack head-on. Our boy can easily defend against level 1 magic with his barrier without using powers. He tolerated the insults because Tadano is just a child, but now believes he must be punished. With a cold expression, he moves toward the bully. Tadano sweats anxiously, and Kusanagi unleashes his magic. The students freeze, unable to move, all questioning what's happening. Mizuho wonders what's going on. Kusanagi walks toward Tadano, moving his hand forward. Tadano nearly shits himself, but the teacher intervenes, entering the classroom and asking about the sound. He questions if anyone is using magic inside. Kusanagi assures him there's nothing going on inside, believing the magic came from outside. The teacher remembers no magic activity today, but our boy says someone outside their department might be practicing. The teacher demands an explanation for the smoke, and Kusanagi answers it came from outside. The teacher believes him, orders the class to return to their seats, and resolves to find the culprit. Kusanagi apologizes with a smile and decides to create false evidence to close the case. All the students, including Mizuha, are surprised. Tadano grits his teeth in frustration. The protagonist believes the students are weak and doubts they can kill a monster. Though the calamity ended 50 years ago, he knows dangerous monsters may still exist. He decides to check it out. At night, he enters old Shibuya using magic circles. Observing the ruined city and remembering what it looked like in his past life, he finds no monsters and assumes the police handled it. Suddenly, he senses a monster's aura and a human nearby and quickly moves to investigate. A monster corners a white-haired girl who cries in fear and begs for her life. The monster moves to eat her, but the boy intervenes. The monster roars in pain and dies in one attack. The protagonist notices a police badge on her clothes. Assuming she's from the police magician, he advises her to be more careful next time. She thanks him, but he summons circles and leaves. She wonders who he was, thinking he's a great magician, but questioning how he defeated the monster without chanting. Kusanagi feels glad his face is hidden, not wanting attention since he's newly reincarnated. He's surprised to see a police magician almost died to a weak monster and assumes even the police are weaker now. He doubts people from this era can defeat monsters. The whole new generation, including students and police, is much weaker than before. He smiles, realizing humanity needs his powers again. He starts moving, deciding to defeat all the monsters in the area. The next day at the academy, the teacher asks everyone to get ready for the magic power test. He hopes they measure both attributes and the amount properly, as they're crucial if they want to pursue a magician profession. Our boy questions why his powers can't be measured without the weird device. Understanding its necessity for students, but wondering how a teacher can be unaware that magic perception is a foundation of magic. Mizuho steps forward and asks if it's the right time. The students notice them talking and wonder why Mizuho is calling Kusanagi out. She introduces herself as the second daughter of the noble magic house, Mizuho Yuika. He doesn't understand what a noble family is, so she explains it's one of the 4 leading noble houses, heads of magicians. He doesn't recognize her and remembers noble families during his time. Observing her weak magic, he wonders why she brags about her family of prominent magicians with such a pathetic magic level. Mizuha asks why he's uninterested, hoping he'd be more grateful. Tadano grits his teeth in jealousy, wondering what they're talking about. Kusanagi asks why a magic noble would talk to a lowlife like him. He gets annoyed but tries to keep her dignity, thinking she must act properly as a noble. He questions if she has a mental issue. Mizuho recalls the magic blast that did 0 damage to him yesterday and wonders if there's a reason behind it. She tries to bring it up, but the teacher interrupts, telling the students to get ready for measurements. Kusanagi takes the opportunity to walk away, smiling. Mizuha decides to wait and see his real powers after the assessments. Tadano confidently unleashes his powers, showing 1000 magic power with a fire attribute. He celebrates his improvement. Kusanagi notes that the standards are the same as in his time. Next, Mizuha steps forward, unleashing her magic. Her attribute is water and her magic power is 2000. Everyone is surprised and the teacher praises both of them, saying they're at the top and will make great magicians. The students start praising them too. Kusanagi, disappointed, calls it a joke, thinking 2000 magic power is no better than amateur level. Mizuho looks smug, trying to show off her noble family's power. He wonders why she's proudly looking at him. Suddenly, he hears the teacher calling for assessments. As he walks toward the device, he hears students talk about his results last year. Despite excelling in studies, he ranked lowest in magic. Tadano, thinking Kusanagi has 0 talent, looks forward to seeing him embarrass himself. Mizuho wonders how much power Kusanagi is hiding, but doubts he can surpass her. Irritated, Kusanagi remembers standing out in his past life, which was annoying. He considers holding back but decides to go all out, unleashing everything with a smile and challenging the machine to handle the power of the greatest sage in history. The machine glows and a beam of light shoots out of the building, noticed by 2 students from different classes. Mizuho is confused as the machine starts acting strangely. It glows more before a huge explosion breaks it. The students scrambled to save themselves from the blast. Our boy is disappointed the machine broke, thinking he barely even tried. He doubts any of his classmates could sense his magic power. The teacher, concerned, asks if everyone is fine. They assure him they are. He asks Kusanagi if he's okay, commenting that he got lucky standing in the middle of the explosion. The teacher wonders if it malfunctioned. He's worried it's now impossible to measure Kusanagi's magic power and attributes. Kusanagi asks why he's so concerned. The teacher says he was hoping to split the students into groups for combat class, but can't decide without the assessment results. The teacher asks Tadano to take Kusanagi in his group. Tadano agrees, seeing an opportunity to bully our boy. The teacher is relieved, glad it's Tadano. The bully approaches Kusanagi, saying he looks forward to their combat class, his face twisted with an evil expression.
The students reach Old Shibuya, and the teacher explains that there are still a few monsters living inside the city which was destroyed by the Great Calamity. The magicians and police regularly come to this abandoned city to fight the monsters that are still living here. The students of the academy are also required to help with this for some reason. The teacher assures them not to stress since most monsters have already been taken care of by the pro-magicians and police officers. Our boy wasn't expecting a practical class. He hopes the students can take out a few monsters since they'll be working in groups. He remembers coming here last night, but feels weird as he senses a few monsters nearby. He remembers that he cleaned the place properly yesterday. He doesn't find any signs of disaster nearby and questions why more monsters keep appearing in Old Shibuya. He hears a few girls talking about competing with each other. Despite it being a practical class, our boy is surprised to see the students acting so carefree. Mizuha carefully observes Kusanagi for some reason. The teacher starts the practical class and hopes everyone can work with each other well. Tadano notices the protagonist and calls him. He approaches our boy with his group and advises him to stay where he is and avoid getting in their way. Tadano makes it clear he won't go easy this time if Kusanagi gets carried away like before. The protagonist doesn't understand why they don't just ignore him if they hate him so much. Tadano becomes angry and orders him not to talk back. He doesn't understand why Mizuha still talks to Kusanagi, even though he's totally trash. Our boy is astonished to hear this and finds out that Tadano has feelings for Mizuha. Tadano becomes enraged. The protagonist notices something, and the bullies try to attack him with their magic powers, but he warns them to stop. Tadano makes it clear that his apology won't work this time. Kusanagi asks him to look behind, but Tadano believes he's trying to play some kind of stupid trick to save himself. Tadano looks behind, and the whole group of bullies finds a tall monster standing behind them. They all start sweating anxiously and question why there's a demon soldier in this abandoned city. The other bullies hype up Tadano and believe he can defeat it. He assures them he will win, though with an anxious expression on his face. He moves forward and attacks it with his fire magic. An explosion occurs as it hits the monster. Tadano and his friends become relieved, but as the smoke clears, the monster stands unscathed in front of them. Tadano sees no scratch on it and becomes terrified. Our boy reveals that his pathetic level 1 magic won't do anything to a demon soldier. As the monster moves forward, the whole group gets terrified. They all fall to their knees and start shivering. Tadano's eyes get teary-eyed, and he wonders if his life ends here. He pathetically pisses his pants as well. But just as he is about to be killed, the demon soldier notices our boy's power. It becomes scared and takes a step back. Kusanagi moves forward and is surprised that the monster was able to sense which one of them is the strongest. He faces the demon soldier himself and unleashes his power. The monster starts going all out as well and summons multiple magic circles. Tadano and his group doubt the protagonist can defeat it. They all accept their death. The monster pulls out some level 2 magic called Rock Reek. A huge rock is about to hit our boy, but he stands unfazed and smiles. He pulls out a level 1 magic called Fire Arrow and throws it toward the demon soldier. His fire arrow completely destroys the rock thrown by the monster. It hits the demon soldier as well, and a huge explosion occurs. Tadano and his gang partners open their eyes. They're shocked to see the monster died. Tadano questions what's happening and wonders if Kusanagi is behind all of this. He doesn't believe it and thinks it's impossible for someone like Kusanagi. But our boy lets him know that if he is the one using it, even level 1 magic is enough to defeat the demon soldier.
He finds it strange to see such monsters appearing in Shibuya, even though he just cleaned the whole place and defeated all the monsters in this area yesterday. He thinks maybe it's some kind of bad omen before a big disaster. The protagonist wonders if he should take the whole situation seriously. Suddenly, he gets flashbacks of the destruction he saw in his previous life. He had to watch many people, including his loved ones, die in front of him. He becomes a bit sad and squeezes his fist. The protagonist becomes determined to save humanity, even if the calamity ends up happening again. The other bullies admit they saw Kusanagi defeat the demon soldier. They wonder if it's the same Kusanagi they know. Tadano becomes frustrated and punches the wall. He feels angry and doesn't understand what's happening. Meanwhile, Mizuha observes everything from behind and is surprised to learn more about Kusanagi. Mizuha pulls out a level 1 magic called Aqua Saucer and easily defeats a weak monster. Her classmates are astonished, so they start praising her. She feels irritated and wonders why ordinary people get impressed so easily. She believes it's just because she's a genius. Suddenly, she finds Tadano's group. Mizuha asks her group members to handle the rest
and leaves. She thinks Tadano might be bullying the protagonist again and feels excited. She quickly runs to watch them so she doesn't miss this opportunity. She stands behind a wall and takes a peek. Mitsuha becomes shocked as she sees a demon soldier. She doubts they can take such a monster on in battle. But despite being scared, the girl decides to help them since she belongs to the Mitsuha family. She is confident she can do something. Mitsuha runs toward the group, yelling at everyone to start running. Suddenly, a huge wave of fire magic gets launched in front of her and hits the demon soldier. Kusanagi takes down the strong monster in one attack. Mitsuha is shocked and wonders if our boy is behind all of this. She remembers Kusanagi used to be a shy kid with trash magic powers. The girl is unable to believe she's looking at the same Kusanagi. She was watching closely and didn't even hear any chanting. Mitsuha doesn't understand how it's possible for him to defeat a demon soldier with just level 1 magic without even chanting a single spell. It's all too hard for her to believe. She understands that every demon's strength is determined by the number of crystals they have on their body. This method is also used to establish a ranking between demons. Magical beasts are ranked 6. Demon soldiers are ranked 5. Demon captains are ranked 4. Demon generals take the 3rd rank. The demon king comes at rank 2. And lastly, the strongest demon, also known as the demon god, is rank 1. These numbers are all fixed for each demon. So every modern magician knows at least level 3 magic is required to defeat a demon soldier. She doesn't believe level 1 magic is enough to beat it. Kusanagi starts walking in her direction. She knows she has no reason to hide, so she peeks again and looks at the protagonist. He calls her out for peeking around like this. She becomes embarrassed and questions how he found out. Our boy thinks it would be stupid not to know since she is a mage. Mitsuha gets confused. He's disappointed to see they really can't sense magic at all. The boy starts walking away. She tries to stop him, but he doesn't listen and keeps moving forward. Mizuha demands an explanation and starts running behind him, but finds no one in the alley. Kusanagi jumps up a building and feels irritated as he sees the girl doing her best to find him. He decides to check around for monsters and learns there are no demon soldiers in the area left, but the number of magical beasts is still a lot. After seeing Tadano's pathetic performance in front of a demon soldier, he doubts other students are capable of taking on magical beasts. The protagonist decides to get rid of a few magical beasts. His body starts glowing suddenly as he activates his magic. He's able to cover the area around the abandoned city, so he pulls out 2 magic circles and uses his level 2 magic called Barret. Multiple beams of light shoot out into the sky and spread across Shibuya. Tadano and his group notice the beam of light. They think they are seeing shooting stars. Mitsuha recognizes it as magic and wonders who unleashed multiple magic abilities at once. Somewhere inside Shibuya, 2 students become surrounded by magical beasts. They become hopeless as they see multiple monsters approaching them at once. They both give up and accept their fate. But as the monster moves forward to kill the girl, it suddenly stops and starts screaming in pain as it gets hit by the strong beam of light. The students ask each other if they're fine. The protagonist watches everything from above. He feels amazing killing all the monsters. He sees them all dropping dead and suddenly realizes he overdid it and ended up killing almost all the monsters in Shibuya. Kusanagi becomes concerned and wonders if the class will still proceed after this. He regrets not holding back. He uses his magic circles to move around the city and finds a hidden alley to land. He doesn't want to hide his powers more than necessary, but all the attention is annoying. He joins his classmates and teachers. The teacher checks a magical beast's dead body and wonders why so many are left. He thought most had already been hunted down or died. He believes a skilled individual just killed them, since killing a monster in a single strike isn't easy. He remembers the magic that killed the monsters. He knows firing so many magic bullets falls under the null attribute. Astonished, he admits he's never seen such a thing before. He admits things would have gotten out of hand without the magic bullets, knowing even firing 2 is an impressive feat. The teacher is in disbelief and understands that if the number reaches 6 or more, no average student can use such magic. The students yell in frustration, asking why they had to face so many monsters and almost lose their lives. The teacher bows and apologizes. He recalls confirming with the police that most monsters had already been wiped out already, and regrets not double-checking with the school. He genuinely apologizes for putting the whole class in danger. A female student asks if someone came to save them. The teacher says he has no idea, but adds that it wasn't the police or an official mage, but likely some illegal magician. He thanks the unknown savior in his heart. Our boy smiles as he listens to the teacher indirectly praise him. He notices a few students discussing his magic bullets, all wondering what they were. Kusanagi is relieved to see everyone is okay, even his bullies. Tadano grits his teeth in frustration. The whole group of bullies stares at the protagonist. Mitsuha remembers seeing Kusanagi defeat a demon soldier alone with just level 1 magic, followed by some kind of infinite magic. She wonders if Kusanagi is behind both. Fire and null are different attributes, and she doubts any student can have both, even Kusanagi. She calms down thinking it's impossible for him to have 2 attributes, and assumes someone else is behind the null attribute. She still doesn't understand how Kusanagi defeated the demon soldier alone. Tadano's group suggests he might also be behind the laser beams. Tadano calls it impossible, but his friend reminds him that Kusanagi defeated the demon soldier too. Tadano becomes angry and warns his friend to shut up or he'll die. His friends become terrified. Tadano makes it clear he'll never believe someone like Kusanagi is capable of such feats. He thinks Kusanagi is hiding something. His lackeys agree and remember how much of a coward Kusanagi is. Tadano screams in rage, saying he'll prove Kusanagi is cheating. He's determined to push Kusanagi into a corner and force him to reveal his true identity. After school, Kusanagi walks out and gets surrounded by a huge gang of bullies. Tadano steps forward and says he's been waiting patiently. The protagonist feels irritated and advises them to put that persistence into learning magic. Tadano believes he has no right to say such things, since he cheats too. Kusanagi is confused by the accusation of cheating, but Tadano insists he's definitely hiding cheap tricks. Tired of their nonsense, Kusanagi realizes there's no point reasoning with them. Tadano orders him to follow. He praises Kusanagi for not running away. Kusanagi clarifies there's no reason to. Tadano doesn't believe him and attacks, throwing a punch knowing Kusanagi won't use magic in a public park. The punch hits his face, but he remains unfazed. The bullies gang up on him, attacking, but he remains patient and doesn't fight back. Tadano asks what's wrong, assuming Kusanagi can't do anything without his magic. He continues attacking, making it clear he won't stop and will kill Kusanagi.
Even if he begs. The protagonist feels disappointed. Their attacks don't even scratch him. His magical powers automatically defend him from any physical attack. Annoyed, he decides to act hurt to satisfy Tadano. Suddenly, someone appears behind and questions why they're attacking Kusanagi. Tadano looks back and sees it's Mizuha. The bully becomes embarrassed and tries to clarify. He tells Mizuha they're just playing around. She doesn't fall for his and calls him out for bullying Kusanagi. She is disappointed to see her classmates acting this way and wonders if they don't feel ashamed because of their actions. Tadano feels weird but blames all of it on Kusanagi. He thinks Mizuha hates him now, all because of him. She grabs the protagonist's hand and starts dragging him out of this whole mess. Tadano notices her grab Kusanagi's hand. He feels jealous and gets fed up. Tadano stops holding back and loses his patience. He tries to throw a magic attack towards our boy. Kusanagi becomes annoyed, Tadano gets ready to end his life, and his lackeys activate their magic as well. Mizuha questions why they're acting this way. The whole group throws a fire attack towards the protagonist. Mizuha knows how dangerous it is, so she tries to save Kusanagi, but she is unable to make it in time. He takes all the attacks head-on. Tadano laughs confidently as he believes no trashy tricks will help Kusanagi save himself from this much power. His lackey get concerned and wonder if he died. Tadano calls them stupid for worrying so much. He makes up a story that they just used magic outside of school and then ended up getting out of control. Kusanagi just got caught in the whole mess, and that's the reason he got hurt. The lackeys believe they took it too far. As the smoke clears, Kusanagi says he was trying to be patient since they're nothing more than brats to him, but their stupidity can't be cured unless they get punished. He gets ready to teach them all a lesson. Tadano is surprised to find him alive, even though they threw such powerful magic spells at him. Kusanagi becomes serious and tells them they shouldn't have dragged Mizuha into their fight. He wonders how rotten they are for acting this way. Tadano screams and blames both of them for this mess. He thinks they should regret making a fool out of him. So, he pulls out another magic circle and announces they will all keep attacking till Kusanagi finally drops dead. Our boy pulls out a tiny magic circle. The bullies laugh at him and call it Grappy. They assume he's bluffing, and all of them attack at once with everything they have, hoping Kusanagi finally dies. The protagonist uses Magic Drain. Weird green tentacles come out of the small circle and grab the whole gang. They all become terrified and try to free themselves but fail miserably. Their strength gets sucked out and the bullies start falling unconscious. Tadano and his lackeys stop moving. Kusanagi is disappointed. He was expecting them to last a little longer than this. He hopes the bullies reflect after this and get there together. Mizuha becomes confused. She wonders if she saw magic just now. She is surprised to see the whole gang got knocked unconscious, but doesn't understand how it happened. Kusanagi gets up and tries to leave, but Mizuha stops him and asks what happened. She asks about the magic as well, and remembers he couldn't even cast a weak spell just a few days ago. She questions who he is. The protagonist becomes annoyed by her behavior and questions her. He advises her to do something else instead of asking so many weird questions. Mizuha starts blushing, she shows her gratitude and thanks him for saving her. The girl requests him to now answer her questions, but she doesn't find him anywhere. She becomes embarrassed and questions why he left her again. At night, Kusanagi enters old Shibuya again and uses his magic circles to move around. He had a bad feeling during the daytime, so he decided to come and check what's happening. He finds more monsters in the area, even though he killed all of them during the daytime. He believes it might be some kind of bad omen. The protagonist is confident he can handle it all alone if the monsters are only appearing in old Shibuya, but he's able to sense more in other places. He thinks it might be too much for the police, and there's barely any good magicians as well. But he doubts he can defeat monsters all across the country alone. He doesn't know what to do, so he decides to start by forming a plan first. He thinks of starting by wiping out all the monsters in old Shibuya first, while avoiding any kind of attention. He uses his magic bullets again and kills multiple monsters at once. A drunk guy enters a dangerous place without realizing it. Suddenly, a monster appears behind him, but it gets taken care of by the protagonist instantly. The guy notices him, but blames it on his imagination and starts leaving. Our boy hopes he didn't get seen by the guy. He uses his magic circle and jumps out. Someone catches him and records everything on his phone. The guy feels astonished and believes his video will definitely go viral. He doesn't waste a second and posts it online. The next day, Tadano, Kusanagi, and Mizuha are called out by the principal. The class teacher says he was informed that some students used magic outside the school grounds and makes it clear that any students caught will be expelled without hesitation. He allows them to explain themselves. Tadano points to the protagonist and tries blaming everything on him, claiming our boy came looking for a fight. Kusanagi feels impressed by how easily Tadano lies and realizes he has no other choice but to speak up and defend himself, even though it's very annoying. As he's about to say something, Mizuha speaks up and defends the boy. She tells the principal they're all spitting lies and reveals that Kusanagi was the one being bullied by Tadano and his friends who fired magic attacks at him first. The teacher listens carefully and finds out our boy used magic too. She calls it self-defense and thinks it's not his fault, since he had no other choice. Kusanagi is surprised by her. Tadano tries to tell the teacher they're innocent too, but Mizuha shucks him up and calls him out for his actions. She calls him a bad person for bullying Kusanagi and then blaming everything on him when faced with consequences. She doesn't understand how he's not ashamed of himself. Tadano calls the protagonist trash and says he doesn't deserve to be in this school, justifying his actions by saying he was just trying to clean up the trash. Mizuha makes it clear that he's the trash and not worthy of the academy. Tadano, still arrogant, says he's at the top of the class and the only one worthy of standing beside her. Kusanagi doesn't deserve it. She doesn't understand what he's talking about. Tadano warns her not to cover for Kusanagi and open her eyes, advising her to become his woman. She's disgusted and tells him there's no chance she would ever choose trash like him. Tadano is shocked by the rejection.
She rejects him for his violent nature and calls him stupid for confessing in such a weird situation. Our boy understands why she said that, but thinks she overdid it. Tadano falls unconscious after hearing the rejection since he and his friends are the bad ones here and Kusanagi was just protecting himself against their magic attacks. The principal makes it clear he doesn't need students who selfishly use magic and hurt others. He expels Tadano and his group. His lackeys try to defend themselves, saying they were just doing whatever Tadano asked them to do. The teacher allows Kusanagi and Mizuha to leave and go back to their classes. They both leave the principal's office. Mizuha gets angry and calls Tadano the worst guy ever. Our boy asks what's going to happen now that they're expelled. She explains there's no chance they can ever become magic, which is pretty obvious. She doesn't understand why Kusanagi didn't speak up for himself. He says he was about to, but she didn't give him a chance. Suddenly, he remembers something. She asks what's wrong. Kusanagi says he was thinking about all the time she tried to save him. First back in class during his fight, and now, when the principal called them, he calls her a good girl for always helping him. She starts blushing uncontrollably and gets embarrassed. Mizuha tells him to shut up and runs toward the classroom so she can enter first. Kusanagi smiles as he watches her leave. He believes the old Kusanagi died and he got reincarnated in this body. Our boy wonders if he was bullied to death or if it really was just a car accident. He still doesn't know the truth, but feels relieved to get the bullies punished for whatever they did. He hopes this pays off and smiles. The principal informs 2 senior students about what happened earlier, saying that a few students got into a fight and even used magic in public. He assures no one got hurt. The senior student asks him why she got called out if there's no issue anymore. The principal tells her that one of the students involved is Yuika Mizuha. The blue-haired student understands and thanks the principal. He asks her to give his regards to her father. She asks him not to worry and reveals that her family is interested in investing in the school. She walks out with her friend, and the principal wonders if Kusanagi is absurdly strong since fighting multiple mages at once is almost impossible. There's no way a normal student would win unless they're hiding some kind of mysterious strength. He is curious about the boy and tells her he wants to meet him to confirm it. She thinks about whether her little sister should be expelled depending on how competent Kusanagi is. She is Mizuha Harakawa from the 3rd year class, and our friend is Katsuragi Ruji, also from the 3rd year class. Kusanagi feels demotivated now that his life is peaceful again. He hears a few classmates talking about someone known as the Black Mage and wonders if it's something related to the magic nobles he learned about. He decides not to care about it for now. The teacher appears and calls Kusanagi outside for the assessment test. He explains that the students who couldn't be measured last time now have the chance to take the test again. Mizuha notices what's happening and feels glad as she can finally learn more about her boy. Suddenly, she notices her older sister, Ruka Mizuha, and Katsuragi entering. She wonders why her sister came out of nowhere.
The teacher announces Kusanagi's turn, asking him to start the magic power assessment test. Our boy remembers he destroyed the machine last time, so he decides to be more careful and hold back. He tries pouring out his magic power, but suddenly starts feeling weird. Extreme fatigue hits him, and he begins breathing heavily. The teacher asks if he's okay, noticing the machine and checking the results. Mizuha and the teacher are shocked to see that for some reason his attribute is none and his magic power turns out to be only 100, which puts a smile on Katsuragi's face. 2 students talk about Kusanagi, calling it the lowest magic power in their batch and labeling him useless since he doesn't even have an attribute. Katsuragi assumes there's no truth behind the story they heard from the principal and doesn't believe the protagonist defeated all the delinquents on his own. Ruka feels disappointed and decides to leave as they have no reason to stay anymore. The students notice Kusanagi is tired just from the assessment, and they can understand it since his magic power is extremely low. The teacher tries to comfort Kusanagi and tells him magic power isn't the most important thing. Mizuha, however, doesn't believe her eyes. She remembers seeing our boy defeat the demon soldier all by himself and knows he can use 2 attributes, fire and null, at the same time. She wonders what kind of trick he's using, as she's never heard of mages hiding their magic power by somehow adjusting it. The protagonist feels relieved and is happy with the result. He performs some kind of magic manipulation to alter the results, even though it's taking a toll on his body. He feels confident and thinks he's finally gotten a grip on it. As he leaves the room, our boy finds Mizuha and learns she was at the assessment room out of curiosity. She tells him she just came out of curiosity. Suddenly, Ruka stops both of them inside the school hall.
Kusanagi asks who they both are, and she introduces herself and Katsuragi. He recognizes her family name and questions if she wants something from him. She says she has zero interest in him and walks toward her little sister. Mizuwa becomes concerned, and Ruka, disappointed, learns her sister couldn't even win against a few delinquents. She also learns Mizuwa was saved by someone with a 100 magic power and asks if all of this is true. Mizuwa confirms, which makes her sister angry. She orders Mizuwa to just quit the academy. Mizuwa doesn't understand why she's saying all this for no reason. Ruka reminds her that she hasn't won a single match. Whenever they fight, whether it's academic results, sports, or magic craft, she loses every single time. Ruka doesn't believe Mizuwa is good enough to become a mage. She thinks it's enough for Mizuwa to quit the academy and join a normal school instead. Mizuwa starts crying, but is unable to say anything. Her sister confirms if she understands everything, and Mizuwa anxiously answers she does. Kusanagi finally intervenes and calls Ruka arrogant. She asks him to repeat his words with a cold expression. He points out how she's been talking nonsense without stopping, not even caring to listen to what her little sister has to say. It's clear to him that she's filled with arrogance. She makes it clear it's a conversation between two family members, so she has no right to budge in. He's surprised to hear her calling it a conversation when all he hears is her ordering around her little sister without giving her a chance to talk. She becomes angry, but our boy continues believing even she doesn't have the right to talk someone out of their way of living. He calls her out and tells her she's horrible for forcing her little sister to give up on what she wants to become. Ruka confidently says her incompetent sister doesn't have the talent to become a mage since she can't even defeat her. Mizuwa starts crying and agrees with her older sister. She doesn't believe in herself and thinks she's been lying to herself this whole time. She tried to convince herself she's a genius with the talents to become a mage, but she couldn't even defeat her big sister once. Kusanagi confidently says she can win against Ruka. He starts smiling, confusing everyone. Ruka asks if he's challenging her, and he requests some time since it's impossible for Mizuwa to win right now. Ruka gives them 2 weeks' time, suggesting they have a 2-on-2 magic duel. He's surprised but agrees, calling it nonsense. He asks Mizuwa if she's willing to do it with a smile on his face, and she calms down, stopping her crying. Mizuwa becomes determined and agrees to participate in the challenge. Once it's decided, Kusanagi asks them never to bring up this matter again if he wins. Ruka bets her sister will need to leave the academy if she and Katsuragi win the fight. She warns them and makes it clear she's not planning to hold back, so they need to properly prepare and face the truth. After a while, Mizuwa and Kusanagi go to the rooftop. She requests his help and hopes he can teach her more about magic so she can improve quickly. He finally understands why he was called up to the rooftop. He asks if she's really sure about learning magic from someone trashy like him, since his magic power is only 100. She doesn't fall for his words and already knows he's hiding his real strength. She believes he's much stronger than her. He notices she's not backing off this time. She assumes he knows how to get stronger, which is why he challenged her sister to a fight. He knows Ruka is the type to desperately try and control everything. It's in her nature. That's why he provoked her, so she'd fight him. But there's no way he can say that to Mizuwa. She bows down and starts begging for his assistance. He gives up and agrees to help her get stronger. She asks again to confirm it. He warns her in advance, making it clear that she needs to follow all of his instructions, and there's no going back once the training starts. She agrees to all his conditions instantly. Kusanagi finds it hard to decline since she's begging so hard for it, since he already needs to prepare for a few things after seeing the number of monsters in Shibuya. Raising a mage might be a promising idea. He decides to begin her training today and thinks about finding a place to practice. Mizuwa starts blushing and invites him to her place with a shy expression. After a while, they reach her place. He's astonished to see the huge house, but she thinks it's only natural since her father is a noble mage. Mizuwa suddenly remembers this is her first time inviting a guy to her house. She wonders if he found her invitation strange, even though she's not hiding any dirty intentions. Kusanagi suggests they should start, but he notices she's daydreaming, so he calls her and addresses her as Yuke. The girl becomes embarrassed to hear her first name, but he tells her he's just trying to avoid confusion since his sister also goes by the name Mizuwa. She's a bit disappointed to hear his answer. He asks if she has a different name in mind that he can use, but she agrees with Yuka. So he decides to start the training and requests her to care for him. The first question he asks her is about her magic power. She thinks it's easy and answers that it's the energy needed to perform magic and it is available in everyone's body. He asks her about incantations. Next, Yuka confidently answers that it's like a program that automatically turns magic into an attack. He questions if there's any way to increase one's magic power, but she answers negatively and believes it is determined before birth and stops increasing after a certain age. Yuka confidently smiles and feels proud of herself as she answered everything perfectly. He lets her know all of her answers are wrong. With a disappointed expression, she starts getting teary and questions if he's trying to call her stupid. The protagonist genuinely feels bad and wonders how foolish the current mages are. He's surprised to see such a huge change in only 50 years. He starts explaining that magic power is not only found in her body, but it is also available in nature and their surroundings.
Incantations or spells are simply ways to properly back up the magic craft. It is also possible to increase magic power intentionally. She finds it hard to believe his words and calls everything a lie, as it would be against the Academy's ideas. It would overturn the Magic Craft Academy if it were all true. He doesn't care if she believes his words or not. He intends to teach her about these 3 things during their training. He orders her to sit down and lets her know he's about to channel his magic power into her body, so she needs to inform them once she starts feeling it. She is surprised to learn there's a way to sense magic power. He makes it clear she won't get stronger if it's impossible for her to feel it. He orders her to close her eyes and begins touching her. He unleashes his magic power, but finds out she still can't feel it. He lets out more magic power and wonders how she can't feel magic of such degree. Finally, Eureka feels something. She thinks her back is getting hotter. He teaches her about it and says it's called magic power perception. She finally understands what he was trying to say earlier. He orders her to always remember this sensation since it's important for her to feel it first in order to detect magic power. He explains it is also available in nature, so she needs to find it as her first goal and get used to feeling magic power. She smiles confidently and assures him she's going to master it in no time since she is the noble daughter of the Mizuwa family. Our boy doubts she can fulfill her promise since she couldn't even sense it when he poured so much magic power into her back. He accepts the fact that she might not be suited to become a mage. A week passes and Eureka starts crying and tells our boy she's still not capable of sensing magic. She's a huge letdown and disappoints the protagonist. He's surprised that a whole week wasn't enough for her to learn such a simple thing. Even though she practiced so hard, he guesses she's just really slow at understanding the concept. Since they barely have any time to spare, he decides to pour some magic into her again. He touches her back, and as he starts unleashing his magic, he instructs Eureka to open her eyes. She opens them with hesitation but becomes surprised as she is finally able to see the magic aura around her body. She starts smiling as she is finally able to understand what magic power is. Eureka becomes amazed by her new skill. Since she's finally capable of seeing magic power, she thinks about measuring Kusanagi's power level. For some reason, she is barely able to sense anything from him, which makes her confused. He praises her for all her efforts, but she calls it natural since she is a genius. Now that she can finally use magic perception, he lets her know they're about to work on adjusting her magic power next. He explains the whole process of how to use the appropriate amount of magic power for any magic craft. She needs to focus only on efficiency and forget everything else. She also needs to use all of her magic power to its absolute limit, so that the amount of magic she can use increases once she properly recovers. He believes she can easily follow all his instructions now that she can sense magic clearly. He is aware that what he's trying to teach her is completely different from the basics of the Magic Academy, but he doesn't care if she believes in his words. Yuika assures him she believes in his words and smiles as she says she does not doubt him anymore. He is happy to hear her opinion has changed. He decides to start the next stage of their training. The protagonist asks her to step back a little and get ready as they are about to fight each other. She confirms she does not mind as she is looking forward to seeing his true powers. Yuika uses the first level of aqua sorcery and throws multiple water attacks, but our boy blocks all of them effortlessly, which surprises the girl. She does not understand how he blocked them. He used the first-level magic barrier using non-attribute magic. He makes it clear if she can't even destroy such a weak barrier, there is no hope she's going to win against her sister. She becomes desperate and starts throwing ice bullets. He explains she needs to keep moving even while throwing attacks because stopping her movements will surely make her lose if she is facing a capable mage. She becomes frustrated and throws more attacks, but finally gets tired and gives up. He explains it's wrong to use so much magic power without efficiency. If she is able to adjust the magic power she puts behind a spell, then she will finally be able to throw attacks without incantations. Kusanagi asks her to watch closely and shows how she's using magic. He throws a fire blast toward a dummy twice and also demonstrates how he uses magic. She understands the magic power behind her attacks is less compared to his. He calls her right and explains she doesn't even need incantations to perform any magic if she learns how to adjust the magic. She finally understands there is no reason to chant while performing a spell. He confirms it and explains her first step will be to learn how to shorten her incantation somehow. Once she learns how to adjust the magic, she has no reason to use incantations. He believes it will be useful if she is able to shorten her incantations so she won't have to waste any effort or magic power on incantations. This way, her magic craft will definitely become stronger. He orders her to get up and fight him again. She thinks it is too soon, but he calls it meaningless otherwise, and with a cold expression, orders her to train like her life depends on it. She becomes terrified after hearing this and falls down. He asks if she's fine, and makes it clear they're going to do this daily from now on. He notices she isn't even hearing his words. During the nighttime, our boy enters Harajuki. He recently sensed a few monsters in this area as well and came to check. Even though he's constantly trying to eliminate all the monsters, for some reason, the numbers still remain the same. Suddenly, he notices someone being attacked by a magical beast. He wastes no time and quickly rushes toward the kid. He's able to make it in time and effortlessly defeats the monster instantly. The boy asks the little kid if she's okay. Instead of thanking him, she starts taking his pictures. He quickly leaves the area and wonders why she didn't even show her gratitude and started taking pictures. He thinks there is definitely something wrong with people nowadays. He decides to cover his face properly next time and leaves the place. The next day, the protagonist starts training with Uka again. She falls down real quick and gets tired. The days of their duel are getting closer. He believes her progress so far is not bad, but she is still nowhere near Ruka in almost everything. There's no chance she will succeed if she keeps this pace until the duel. He assures her and says it's fine if she wants to give up now. She gets up and tells him she has been compared to her sister her entire life. She has been forced to just give up multiple times now, since she always fails to beat her sister. But she's determined to keep continuing with magic craft and never give up on it. He makes it clear she won't ever succeed like this, but she tells him to be stricter instead. He agrees to it and decides not to hold back. She is happy to hear this and gets ready to fight. They both continue to train with each other, and he teaches the girl many things. As the sun is about to set, Uka falls unconscious after the extreme training session, and Kusanagi ends up carrying her back. A couple of days of training together, he finally tells Yueka she is ready to fight her sister. She falls on the ground in relief. Kusanagi praises her for the hard work and efforts. She starts smiling as she hears his words. On the day of their challenge, our boy asks her if she's ready to fight them. She answers positively, and as they're about to enter the academy, they both notice a huge crowd of people. A few news reporters surround them and confirm if they're really seeing Yurika Mizuha of the noble family. They request a few words regarding the magic duel and question if she is having a fight with her sister. Kusanagi becomes confused. She explains her family is huge, and since she's about to fight her sister, it's normal for the press to act like this.
He is surprised to learn people care so much about two students fighting. He guesses it is because the Mizuha family is very important. They all reach the training ground, which is surrounded by a huge audience. He thinks it is a bit too much, but she explains it is rare for students to have duels, so it's more like an event than a challenge. He's a bit surprised to learn all this. Both of them get called to the stage. Yuiko gets ready, but all of a sudden her body starts shaking. He assures her and tells her to just focus on working hard. She calms down and smiles. Yuiko becomes determined and moves forward towards the stage without hesitation. He calls our boy a mysterious person and admits his words really reach her heart.
Yuika and Ruka finally come face to face. Ruka is surprised to see her little sister didn't just run away. Yuika confidently confirms it. Ruka calls her rude for believing she can really defeat someone like her older sister, but Yuika makes it clear she is definitely going to succeed. Ruka decides to give her a chance and thinks she has definitely changed a lot in the past 2 weeks. Yuika is aware her older sister is strong. She realizes the difference between their magic power is extremely huge, but she believes in herself and knows she will definitely win. The beginning of the duel gets announced and both participants get permission to start. Yuika wastes no time and pulls out her magic circle. She tries shortening her chance as well. Ruka begins attacking. Kusanagi observes the match and understands that moving around while shooting magic spells is the basics of a battle. He assumes Ruka is aware of the basics of the battle between two mages at least. In comparison to her, Yuika got so nervous she completely forgot about the basics and didn't move during the battle. She doesn't have the advantage anymore, even if she reduces her chanting time. Ruka and Yuika attack each other with first-level water magic. Yuika is able to stand her ground against her older sister's attack. She's surprised by her capabilities and believes she has gotten stronger. Ruka admits she has improved her strength in just 2 weeks. Yuika is happy to hear her older sister praising her. Ruka humbles her and tells her to stop giggling as it was just a comparison. She's not getting praised. Ruka increases the level of her magic and throws a stronger attack this time. She uses second-level water blitz. Yuika is unable to handle it. She gets knocked down and falls beside the protagonist. He looks at her and knows she's good at enchanting now, which increased her chances of winning, but her older sister is simply too strong for her. Ruka calls him a cruel guy for not even helping her get up, even though he was protecting her before. He tells her there's no need to help her. Ruka doesn't understand what he's trying to say. Suddenly, Yuika actually gets up and shocks her sister. Ruka doesn't understand how she's still standing even though she got hit by level 2 blitz. Yuika makes it clear she's definitely going to win this match. Yuika has nothing else besides magic craft going on in her life. Even if she ends up losing everything, magic craft is one thing she is never going to give up on. Yuika begins attacking again. Ruka starts attacking as well. She tries her best to stand against her older sister, determined not to give up, but she ends up falling down after overusing her magic power. The announcer tells everyone contestant Yuika used up all her magic power, so Ruka is the victor of this contest. Yuika tries to get up so she can do something to win, but fails. Kusanagi calls it a battle of magic usage based on magical adjustment. He believes his friend lost in terms of the amount of magic power. Ruka asks if he understands now. She calls her little sister talentless and knows our boy probably thought about this too. He confirms she's completely talentless and very clumsy. She made such slow progress and she is unable to properly perform whenever she is involved in a real fight. But he tells Ruka she is a real hard worker and she persistently practiced daily like an idiot. Ruka is still disappointed by the results, but he tells her he loves hard-working people who don't give up, just like Yuika. The girl starts sobbing hearing his words. He tells everyone Yuika is his disciple, and he doesn't like it when anyone speaks badly about her so casually. Yuika starts weeping uncontrollably. Ruka calls him arrogant and wonders why he's talking so much for someone with 100 magic power. He makes it clear for her. He will defeat her with 100 magic power. She thinks he's just good at talking nonsense, but decides to agree. Ruka tells him his opponent is someone else, and Katsuragi appears, excited that it's his turn next. Ruka advises him to end it quickly, and he assures her there's no need to tell him twice. Katsuragi carries out Yuika and tells her to rest, ordering her to watch closely during the battle so she can learn something. She understands his words, suddenly realizing the pain in her body has disappeared and there are no wounds on her arms either. As he enters the stage, our boy admits he can't win with just 100 magic power. Even though he said otherwise earlier, he knows he'll need 100% focus to win. The protagonist decides to keep his magic power at 100 using a non-attribute attack without incantations. He's not setting up a magic barrier this time, so he knows he might get die if hit directly. He feels excited, calling the situation thrilling. Katsuragi gets ready, apologizing that he's not planning to hold back. Our boy lets him know that he's the one who needs to hold back. The audience cheers for Katsuragi, hoping he doesn't go all out or the challenger might get badly injured. He ignores their words and activates his 8,000 magic power. Our boy notices it and knows it's not a big deal, but since he's only using 100 magic power today, there's a good chance he might actually get killed. The second match begins. As they face each other, Katsuragi hopes our boy won't hold a grudge after it's over while summoning his magic circles. With the attack he's about to throw, he thinks he can test whether Kusanagi really defeated those delinquents. He challenges Kusanagi to withstand his full power attack. But just as he's about to throw it, something hits him on the forehead. The protagonist is disappointed, calling the guy slow. The audience is shocked to see the match end so quickly. The announcer declares that contestant Kusanagi has won the match. Ruka is surprised to see her friend knocked unconscious by just one hit. She remembers he didn't even perform any incantations and wonders what kind of trick he used. Kusanagi hopes she's happy now that the match ended quickly, just as she wanted. She becomes irritated hearing his words. Yuika is shocked too and finds it hard to believe he really defeated the guy. Ruka admits he's strong and he responds that he's actually stronger than her as well. She warns him to stop spouting nonsense. Ruka unleashes her 10,000 magic power. Kusanagi sees it through his magic perception and realizes she's stronger than the guy he fought earlier. The announcer tells the audience something unexpected is happening, as Kusanagi has used a different way of fighting, drawing a lot of attention. The next match will decide who the real victor is. The third match begins. Kusanagi uses the same trick again, shooting magic bullets toward her. She counters with water magic. Our boy only has 100 magic power, meaning he doesn't have enough to affect Ruka unless the magic bullet lands on her forehead. He realizes she's already adapted, protecting her forehead and not running while using magic. Ruka persists, throwing water attacks, but even after all that, she's shocked to see the protagonist still standing unfazed. She knows he isn't using any magic, but wonders how he's managing to stay unharmed. The audience is also confused, wondering how he's not even wet despite being hit multiple times. Yuika is also unsure about the technique he's using to protect himself, knowing he definitely did something. Ruka attacks again, but this time the boy dodges her magic with insane speed. She finally figures out how he's still standing, but she's left speechless. Yuika realizes that a magic attack can be countered by another magic attack, and even if there's a huge power difference, there's still a way to avoid damage.
Everyone knows that's the only way to avoid being hurt. Ruka grits her teeth in frustration, knowing her level 2 techniques have different speed and mass, making it almost impossible for anyone to remain unscathed in front of them. She wonders why the protagonist is standing there fearlessly against such strong spells. Kusanagi knows she's probably thinking all of this. He thinks it's easy to dodge magic attacks if you can sense and detect them clearly, but it requires a lot of courage. Ruka gets serious and uses a Thurtle spell called Azura Splash. The audience grows concerned, knowing it will be disastrous if Kusanagi gets hit. Ruka is tired, but is confident Kusanagi can't dodge this attack. Out of nowhere, she gets hit by a magic bullet and falls to the ground. She doesn't understand how he's still standing. She questions what method he used to dodge her attacks. He explains that he used a magic draining technique that eats up magic craft. He simply walked through the center using drain. Ruka is speechless at first, then starts laughing, admitting her defeat. The announcer announces that Kusanagi Minato has won the match. Yuika runs to the stage, asking if they're both fine. Our boy assures her they're good, smiling as he says he won. She smiles back, becoming really happy. Ruka decides to keep her promise and gives them her word, allowing them to do whatever they want. Kusanagi is happy that it ended well. He noticed that Yuka's wounds earlier weren't that deep, guessing Ruka was probably holding back in their fight. Ruka becomes embarrassed, trying to make an excuse. He points out how much stronger Yuka has gotten in just 2 weeks. He believes Ruka probably noticed that too, and thinks there's no reason for her to be so overprotective anymore. Yuka speaks up determinedly, assuring both of them that she'll grow stronger, so her sister won't have to worry about her anymore. Ruka smiles, finally starting to believe in her little sister. Kusanagi feels happy watching both sisters get along, but suddenly he feels an immense amount of pressure and realizes this is abnormal magic. The sky turns red, and the protagonist wonders if the calamity is happening again. Tadano and his gang try finding something inside Kusanagi's bag. They've lost many people after he proved his power in the duel. His lackeys tell him he only has textbooks in his bag. Tadano calls our boy diligent and becomes frustrated. He's sure Kusanagi is hiding something, otherwise it's impossible for a trash like him to use such powerful spells. One of the lackeys looks outside the window and becomes terrified. Tadano wonders if he found something and goes closer. They all notice the red sky and wonder what's happening on Earth. One of them guesses it's the calamity, but Tadano doesn't believe it's really the calamity. At the training grounds, our boy becomes worried as he looks at the red sky. He wonders why he can sense such strong, abnormal magic out of nowhere. He guesses it might be the calamity. Everyone becomes worried and the audience starts panicking. They all question what's happening. One of them doesn't think the calamity is really happening here. Kusanagi becomes scared as he doesn't understand why a calamity is happening. All of a sudden, he wonders if it's related to what he sensed in Shinjuku. He remembers the first calamity also took place in Shinjuku. Our boy doesn't know if it's merely a coincidence or if there's something important behind it. The portals open and magical beasts start pouring out. The students become terrified and start screaming, but the teacher orders them to calm down and tries leading everyone to safety. Kusanagi wastes no time and shoots multiple magic bullets to kill the monsters. He uses magic to make an announcement. Our boy orders everyone to calm down. He explains that weak monsters are going to come out since it's only the beginning of the calamity, so they don't have to worry. He assures them it's going to be fine as long as they use their brains and follow his instructions. He instructs them to run towards the gymnasium and only move in groups, since it's dangerous to move alone. He asks Ruka and the others to evacuate as well. The teacher asks what he's planning to do. Our boy explains he wants to save the people that are still inside the school building. The teacher doesn't think it's safe to go all by himself. He calls the boy reckless and tries to stop him, but Katsuragi agrees to go with our protagonist so he doesn't have to solve everything alone. The teacher is worried, but he reminds the teacher what Kusanagi can do. He has no choice but to give them their permission. The teacher advises them not to force anything and stay safe. Katsuragi is confident he won't die, but tries to confirm it with our boy. Kusanagi shrugs it off and informs Yuka he's going to leave now. She looks concerned for him and advises him to stay safe. Katsuragi starts running and tells his junior he's going to go first. His insane speed allows him to cover 100 meters in only 10 seconds. He asks the protagonist if he can keep up. Kusanagi pulls out his magic circles and starts moving forward with insane speed, shocking the senior. He makes it clear that he's the one going first. Kusanagi admits he has crazy speed, but just speed itself is still useless. He decides to watch our protagonist closely to see what kind of power he's hiding. He wants to save everyone while learning more about Kusanagi. Our boy detects 58 magic users inside the school building using perception skill. He assumes there might be someone with no magic power. If what he's thinking is true, he decides to check the entire school and save such students. A few students get attacked by magical beasts. He enters the classroom through a window in time and uses his magic bullets to defeat all the monsters without much effort. The female student becomes surprised. A monster tries sneaking up on the protagonist from behind, but he easily kills it without being phased. Katsuragi catches up and asks if he's okay. Kusanagi hopes he can help everyone evacuate without any issue and leaves. Katsuragi tries to stop him as it's too dangerous to go alone, but fails. The protagonist is simply too fast to keep up with. Katsuragi guesses he was being a burden, but he admits he's not very useful, so it's probably true. He still can't believe the boy defeated a magic beast without any effort. Katsuragi questions who he even is.
Kusanagi runs through the school halls looking for more students. Even though he is capable of killing all the monsters at once with his magic bullets, he needs to kill them one by one since he's inside a school, and there's a chance he might end up hurting a student in the process. He has no other choice but to chase the monsters himself and attack them with low-grade magic to not hurt the students in the process.
He enters a classroom and defeats more magical beasts to save the students hanging on to their dear lives. After he's done defeating all of them, the students show their gratitude. He's already aware he doesn't have the time to personally help everyone evacuate and runs towards the gymnasium one by one. Somewhere else, Katsuragi saves a few students and assures them he will handle the monster while they evacuate. One of the students points towards the sky for some reason. He asks what's wrong and suddenly notices a few students slowly floating down while being inside a bubble. He wonders what the protagonist is trying to do and questions who he even is. Our boy sent the students towards Katsuragi through magic bubbles because he believes the guy is good at taking care of others, so it's fine. He suddenly senses something. A female student starts shaking in fear as she gets cornered by a huge monster. She starts crying and yells out as hard as she can to get help. A huge magic bullet destroys the beast instantly. She remembers it is the same one she saw before when she was saved the last time. Kusanagi appears and asks if she is injured. She finds out he is the one who saved her twice. Kusanagi reveals she is right. She then asks if he was also behind what happened during the practice class. The girl believes this is his second time saving her. Our boy confirms that what she is saying really did happen. The girl starts crying out of relief as she finally gets the chance to show her gratitude. She thanks him for saving her life twice. He doesn't mind it and thinks it is nothing special. She becomes speechless. Katsuragi finally catches up but looks completely out of breath. He asks who he needs to save next. Kusanagi orders the girl to follow and stay with the guy as he is going to leave now. She tries to stop him, but he ignores her words and leaves. She becomes a bit worried while Katsuragi wonders what he's looking at. Our boy knows there are still many people inside the building that he needs to save, so he has no time to wait for the police to appear. He knows he has to hurry up and save everyone as soon as possible. At the Prime Minister's office, the Prime Minister finds out the Kamui Magic Academy is under attack by the Calamity. His men don't understand why it's happening again. They all know the last calamity took place 50 years ago, and since then nothing bad has happened. They ask the Prime Minister to quickly form a plan while assuming their country might be cursed. He informs them that both the Beast Countermeasure Division and the Police Department, along with the Magic Nobles, are all being contacted. The GSDF has also started their preparations for the calamity. His men remind him that they only have self-defense forces who specialize in controlling disasters. They don't have any real mages who can actually stand their ground against the monsters. He clarifies that he already knows all of this. This is to be expected since people have been living an easy and peaceful life without facing calamities for a while now. They used up almost all of their military expenditure on the national defense of international affairs, so they have no other choice but to leave all the beasts and demons to the police and noble mages. He becomes frustrated to learn the same disaster from 50 years ago is happening again. But this time they don't even have Ichimi Minato on their side. Somewhere else, while driving, the girl asks her senior if the calamity really is happening again. He confirms it and believes it is definitely the calamity. She becomes worried and starts getting anxious. Even though they have been safe for the past 50 years, she is shocked to learn the peace was just temporary. The guy tells her not to worry since it is their job in the first place anyway. He is Shido Shugo from the Metropolitan Police Department. The girl becomes determined to do her best as well. She is Sergeant Sonata Karen from the police department. The news reporters reach the academy using a helicopter. One of them covers everything and informs the audience that the calamity is happening at the Magic Academy. He tells everyone about the situation and shares that monsters are constantly pouring out and the sky has turned completely red as well. A female news reporter reveals the magical beast started appearing out of nowhere, so the students are all currently taking refuge in the gymnasium. The teacher guides the students and believes it is not that hard to protect themselves since they are only up against magical beasts. They should be able to defeat the monsters through proper teamwork. The world watches the news. A few kids watch it as well and suddenly remember the academy is really close to where they live. They both decide to run away as soon as possible. Outside, people start panicking and running away to save their lives. Two men watch everything from a distance and realize things are looking really horrible. The audience watching news channels becomes concerned. Our boy notices the huge number of monsters pouring out. He remembers the second stage is about to start soon, and now stronger monsters are going to start appearing. As they progress through the stages, things are going to become even more difficult. There's no point in defeating them as the beast will keep appearing non-stop. As long as he doesn't defeat the boss monster, the magical beast will keep appearing. He is aware the boss is only going to reveal itself in the final stage, so he needs to keep his cool until then. He starts feeling irritated but continues to save more people. He rescues 20 people and uses his magic bubbles again to let them float towards safety. He is having a hard time finding the students since they have been scattered everywhere. He decides to move on to the next stage. Somewhere inside a random classroom, Tadano persistently shoots his fire magic but gives up when he finds out his attacks are having zero effect and he is out of magic power. As the demon soldier stands in front of them, the whole gang starts sobbing and wonders how they got so unlucky twice. Tadano's lackeys remind him they warned the guy about this. The bully becomes frustrated as he remembers our boy can defeat a monster in just one hit. He doesn't understand why he can't do the same thing. The protagonist appears and tells him it is because he is weak trash. Tadano opens his eyes and sees a magic attack effortlessly killing the demon soldier. He becomes confused but sees Kusanagi enter the classroom. Our boy starts leaving. Tadano frustratingly admits it happened again. He ended up getting saved by Kusanagi a second time. He requests the boy to stop and questions why he got saved again even though he is extremely annoying and always acts like a piece of trash. The protagonist tells him there is no real reason behind it. He just decided to save them because he holds the power to do so. Tadano becomes confused as he hears his words. The bully starts feeling inferior and tries insulting the protagonist. He calls the guy a wimp who can't even use magic properly. Tadano doesn't understand how he got so powerful out of nowhere. Kusanagi reveals his secret and says the real Kusanagi actually died in a car accident. He was reborn. Tadano doesn't find the logic behind it and questions how someone can get even stronger at the death store. He was expecting to be a great mage himself but lost to a trash like Kusanagi. Kusanagi calls him weak trash since strong people don't oppress the weak, and even the weak don't oppress the people who are weaker than them. He points out Tadano's flaws and thinks he is just trash consumed by a sense of superiority that was enough to fool him into thinking he is actually something. Kusanagi makes it clear for the guy. A weak trash like him can't even imagine facing our boy in a fight right now and winning. Tadano finally accepts it and gets down on his knees. He admits he was trying to run away from the reality that his powers haven't grown much since junior high. He tried taking out all of his frustration on the people who are weaker than him, but in the end he got saved by someone like Kusanagi, who was supposed to be a trash weakling. He just couldn't accept the truth. He admits in front of his lackeys that we were all saved by Kusanagi, and the bully starts crying non-stop. Meanwhile, the protagonist defeats the monsters in the classroom. A demon soldier enters the building to kill him. He shoots his magic bullet, but the strong monster easily dodges it.
So, the boy has no choice but to unleash his powerful fire magic. He defeats it effortlessly, but realizes the demon soldiers are rapidly increasing in numbers, so it is possible the boss might come out soon as well. He assures the terrified students not to worry, as he has already taken care of everything. Somewhere else, Katsuragi becomes angry and questions why our boy is pushing so much work onto him. He uses his fire magic to finish a few magical beasts while protecting the students. He assures the female student to just stop worrying and follow him, as he would protect everyone with everything he has. The students calm down hearing his words and start cheering for him. He looks at the army of beasts and wonders how he's supposed to protect the students against all of this. Kusanagi appears out of nowhere and offers his help. Katsuragi begs him not to appear like this again, as he scared the guy. Our boy instructs him to leave the place as soon as he takes care of all the monsters, but Katsuragi is worried. He believes defeating such a huge army of monsters is nearly impossible, so it is better if they just change their route. The protagonist uses his non-attribute magic and kills all the monsters, including the demon soldiers, instantly, with barely any effort. Everyone is left speechless, but he reminds Katsuragi to guide the students out of this mess and start moving. Katsuragi understands his words and orders everyone to follow him.
The students observe the magic bullets while running away. Katsuragi anxiously smiles as he realizes how strong the protagonist really is. Once they all leave, our boy decides to go inside the school again and search for more students who are in danger. Somewhere else, the teacher motivates the students to keep going and not give up, so they can continue to push back the monsters. Yuika starts feeling tired, but Ruka appears from behind and advises her to just go inside and rest, since she will be a burden if she can't fight. Yuika assures her she will keep fighting determinedly, as they don't have any time to rest. Katsuragi finally reaches the gymnasium with the rescued students. The teacher praises him and orders him to lead everyone inside. Katsuragi asks about the situation. Ruka disappointedly tells him they are barely holding their ground. Yuika worriedly asks about Kusanagi, but the guy assures her our boy is still alive and good. She becomes relieved and starts smiling. Katsuragi admits Kusanagi is awesome and holds a lot of strength. He believes they might be able to overcome the calamity with him by their side. Yuika agrees with him, as she also thinks the same. Suddenly, the ground starts shaking. All the students become terrified, and the teacher quickly tells everyone to evacuate. A huge army of strong monsters appears from the smoke. Katsuragi notices the demon soldiers between them as well. He admits there is no chance they can do anything, as the army of beasts is just too huge, so they need to escape quickly. The strong monsters of the second stage start chasing the students. Yuika tries to run towards safety, but almost gets eaten by a magical beast. Someone kills the monster and saves Yuika. It's the police department. Shido quickly orders his men to eliminate the beasts, and the police do everything they can to protect the civilians. The students breathe a sigh of relief seeing the police, thinking they're finally safe. Shido assures them not to worry anymore, as the police are here. He orders them to follow instructions and carefully evacuate the school. But Yuika steps forward, telling him the students are ready to fight as well. Shido repeats his words, but Yuika clarifies that they aren't civilians. Ruka jains her and adds that they are mages. Shido understands their words and requests backup. He orders them to start attacking from the rear. He admits they're low on numbers, so they really need the mage's help. He's frustrated, wishing the police weren't so useless. Sonata uses her healing magic to help the injured students. The protagonist notices the police have finally arrived and decides to leave everything to them. He's surprised to see the police arrive before the self-defense troops. It's crazy to think the country doesn't have any plans or precautions for a national-level disaster. He thinks this is a good lesson for the people who take peace for granted, but he decides to keep moving forward to help save the remaining students. The news reporter announces that the police have arrived, but the monsters are multiplying faster than ever. She wonders if the police can handle the calamity and hopes the mage nobles will show up to resolve the situation. A few students watching the news get excited at the thought of seeing the nobles in action. An elderly couple recalls that they've paid all their taxes, so the mage nobles should handle this. The reporter hopes they arrive soon. Inside a mansion, a noble tells his butler to ignore the calamity. He's Fuka-jin, the head of the Fuka household, a mage noble. The butler asks again to make sure, and Fuka insists it's just a small-scale calamity. The police should be able to handle it. The butler asks where Fuka is going, and the mage noble decides to go to sleep. The butler wishes him a restful night. Back at the school, Shido realizes the situation is getting out of control. He asks one of his men if they can handle the magical beasts at the entrance, but the answer is no, there are just too many of them. Shido sees the number of beasts growing and wonders if they can save the civilians in time. The self-defense troops are supposed to handle the rear, but they still haven't arrived. There's no choice but to contact the mage nobles, but it's strange. He can't get in touch with them. They're supposed to be the ones for this, yet they're useless. As the students help the police fight the monsters, Shido recalls everything he's learned about calamities. He wonders if the people 50 years ago dealt with it the same way. He hopes the boss doesn't show up. Suddenly, the number of monsters escalates and a huge purple beam of light fills the area. A demon captain appears, sending everyone into panic. Shido can't believe it. It's a demon captain, their boss. Ruka remembers that the demon captain is a rare beast that rarely shows up in this era. Only mage nobles can defeat it. Yuika realizes they need magic stronger than level 5 and she starts to panic, crying because there's no one who can cast such high-level magic. The demon captain unleashes its power and summons multiple magic circles. Yuika freezes in terror. Ruka steps in, using all her strength to deflect the attack, but her power isn't enough. She throws herself in front of Yuika as a shield. The demon captain's attack hits her hard, but she manages to protect Yuika. The younger girl watches in horror as her sister is injured. The students run away while Yuika stays behind, trying desperately to save Ruka. Shido and his men are powerless against the monsters, calling out for help. Katsuragi uses everything he has, but the demon captain doesn't budge. The police admit they can't save anyone and give up, accepting their fate. Yuika continues to cry out for help, calling the protagonist's name. As the demon captain moves closer, someone voices their irritation. Finally, the protagonist arrives, apologizing for being late. He feels bad for making the girl wait. Yuika tells him about her sister with a worried face, but he assures her and says she has just passed out. He quickly heals her wounds and grits his teeth in frustration as he observes the damage the monsters have done. He assures the girl not to worry as he's about to clean up the whole mess. She puts her faith in him. Suddenly, multiple magic circles appear, and all the injured students start getting healed. Yuika observes her older sister's wounds disappearing and becomes astonished. As the injured students wake up, Sanata notices the magic while healing people. She's surprised to see third-level holy magic and admits that even she can't use it. She wonders who is behind this. Sanata finds her senior and asks if he's doing okay. The guy assures him that he isn't injured, just ran out of magic power. She questions what is going on. Shido doesn't understand it himself, but believes they should focus on protecting the civilians. Sanata starts crying and tries to stop him, saying it's too reckless.
But he's determined to fight, knowing that if he doesn't, everyone is going to lose their lives. Sanata stops him again and tells him there's no chance they can win, since everyone is already dead. She points out that the police have already been defeated. Since the defense troops and magic nobles are still not here, he has to admit there's nothing they can do anymore. As the demon captain moves forward, the news reporter finds out the whole police department has been defeated. She becomes hopeless and thinks they're about to die. The students watching the news call the nobles completely useless and hope they don't die. The people watch the news carefully and learn there's no one who can defeat the demon captain. The protagonist approaches the demon captain all by himself. Sanata notices him and wonders if he has a death wish. Shido tries to warn him, but our boy ignores their words. Kusanagi is here to stop the monster from doing whatever it wants. The demon captain terrifyingly expresses its desire to kill and destroy the human race. Everyone becomes scared, and a few students almost piss their pants. Shido and Sanata are unable to move from the fear and pressure, but the boy remains unfazed. He throws an attack and tells the monster to shut its mouth. The demon captain starts screaming out of rage, and all the monsters follow its lead as it pulls out huge magic circles and starts attacking the protagonist. He remembers going all out the last time he was facing the calamity. Our boy knows everyone around him will die if he does that again, so he decides to hold back to avoid involving the people. The monster's attacks hit him hard. Shido believes he got killed, but as the attacks almost reach the students, our boy pulls out his shields and shoots out multiple magic bullets to push back the army of monsters. Shido becomes shocked and wonders who he even is. The news reporter finds out a student is fighting the monsters alone. She decides to go closer since they can't see his face. The camera blows up suddenly. Eureka smiles as she knows the protagonist was doing his best to not reveal his identity. She believes he can go all out without distractions now. As the boy shoots out magic bullets persistently, the students finally see hope and start cheering for his victory. A few magical beasts sneak up from behind and almost attack the students, but Shido kills them and decides to support Kusanagi from behind, as that's the only thing they can do right now.
Our boy smiles as he sees the hard-working police. He praises them and admits they aren't as bad as he thought. He keeps shooting the magic bullets. The demon captain screams and summons multiple magic circles. It starts going all out and summons 6th level magic, surprising Shidu. He thinks they're doomed since its strong magic is on par with the nobles, and there is no hope left for them. The demon captain uses 6th level dragon flames, and the whole place gets engulfed by flames. Everyone tries to save themselves as a huge tornado of fire slowly ekes up the whole place. Shidu tries to protect his partner Sonata, but the students become hopeless, accepting that they're all about to die. Sonata asks God for help, hoping at least the students can survive. Shidu doubts any student, no matter how strong, can beat the demon captain. He doesn't believe Kusanagi stands a chance. Eureka, however, puts all her faith in the protagonist. She believes in him with every cell of her body, convinced he can definitely win. As the huge attack heads toward him, Kusanagi notices it's slow. He realizes it's because the demon captain is forcing itself to use 6th level magic. He admits there's no way he can face it with just 2nd level magic. So, despite his desire to avoid standing out, he decides to use more power. Kusanagi summons 4 magic circles and begins using the water attribute. Eureka smiles and starts cheering for him. The water turns into a massive serpent, and Shidu is amazed, wondering if this is synthesis magic. The water and fire attacks clash, with Kusanagi starting to overpower the demon captain, but the demon captain refuses to back down, pushing harder, yelling its desire to kill and destroy the human race. The fire magic intensifies, but Kusanagi puts in a little more power. And after some struggle, the demon captain realizes it's about to die. The monster questions how it was defeated by a mere kid. Kusanagi calmly replies that it's because of the demon captain's lack of training. He'd hoped for a better fight, but is disappointed to learn it was weaker than expected. The sky finally returns to normal. Kusanagi smiles, relieved that the calamity is over now that he's defeated the final boss. The students are in shock, finding it hard to believe Kusanagi defeated the demon captain. They all get up and begin celebrating. Even the news reporter and cameraman join in, finally feeling safe. Sonata comforts a student, assuring her that it's safe now as the calamity is over. Shidu stares at Kusanagi, calling it impossible. He doesn't understand how a student could stop the calamity alone. He doubts even the nobles could have defeated the demon captain with 6th level magic and wonders who Kusanagi really is. His legs give out from overexertion. Kusanagi finds Eureka and tells her he's ended everything. She smiles and says she always believed in him, thanking him. This brings a smile to his face. Suddenly, the students surround him, praising him for what he did. They all show their gratitude, but Kusanagi, irritated, asks them to step back. He regrets standing out like this, just like in his past life, and hopes he won't have to live an annoying life from here on. Eureka notices how annoyed he looks. The announcement comes. The calamity at Kamui Magic Academy has been stopped. The academy refuses to share details about the boy who defeated the boss monster single-handedly. No casualties were reported, though several people were injured. Kusanagi's classmates show him the news. He becomes annoyed, but they think it only be natural for him to appear as the mighty savior. Kusanagi gets promoted to S-class as well, and his old classmates feel bad, realizing they can't talk to him the same way anymore. A few female students ask about the secret behind his strength, assuming he might have inherited the blood of a great noble mage. An S-class student observes how annoyed Kusanagi looks due to all the attention. He doubts such a strong student really exists. Kusanagi's classmates defend him, confirming that he did defeat the demon captain all by himself. The S-class student remains unconvinced, thinking it sounds wrong no matter how you look at it. Kusanagi takes this chance to leave the class, feeling relieved as he steps out. Eureka finds him and asks if he's having a hard time, grinning mischievously. He doesn't want to be teased, but she keeps talking. She thinks this is natural since he's the mighty savior who protected the whole school. Kusanagi remembers that Eureka was also promoted to S-class, a result of her efforts during the calamity, but she doesn't seem too happy about it. When he asks, she assures him she's happy, but it's because there's someone else in the S-class. Suddenly,
Kusanagi remembers Ruka and asks if she's doing any better. Eureka answers positively and points out that they've been talking more than before. Kusanagi thinks it's a good thing, and Eureka feels happy about it too. She thanks him for everything, expressing her gratitude. Out of nowhere, Kusanagi lightly taps her head, causing her to get embarrassed and ask what's wrong. He clarifies that he doesn't want her thanking him over and over. Once is enough. Eureka starts smiling. At a conference, a man finishes his teleconference with other countries. They're aware that getting support for the next calamity will be hard since they're already overwhelmed with measures and plans. One of them mentions the news about the student defeating the boss monster. The others explain that it was a strange situation and even the police department was completely defeated. They assume it might be a misunderstanding and expect other nations to be skeptical as well. The man orders his men to bring back the noble mages to prepare for the next calamity.
On the school roof, Ruka and Katsuragi meet Kusanagi and Yuika. They all stare at each other for a moment. Ruka then shares her desire to ask Kusanagi something. She wants him to make her his disciple. A few days later, Ruka sits down with her sister and starts a chat. She remembers the calamity was stopped by the protagonist. Her sister confirms this and reminds her that Kusanagi is the one who defeated the demon captain using 4-level synthesis magic to do so. Ruka is astonished to hear this. She remembers that even high-level mages are not capable of using such power. Yuika assures her she's telling the truth, and Ruka trusts her little sister's words, deciding to believe it as she starts smiling. Yuika wonders why her older sister thinks she doesn't tell lies. Ruka recalls that Yuika has always been a straightforward kid, still obedient, never lying, gentle, but also hardworking. She finally accepts that her little sister isn't talentless and admits that she was the one being stubborn. Yuika realizes her sister is just worried about her, stands up with determination and assures her big sis that she is going to become really strong and put her at ease so that she doesn't have to worry about it for now. Ruka listens to her sister carefully and realizes how much she has grown. Yuika hears her praise and starts smiling uncontrollably. Ruka is aware that no student comes near Kusanagi, and she guesses even her father might be weaker than him. She requests Yuika's help, knowing that if she just goes with the flow, she will only become a high-class mage at best. So, she definitely needs Kusanagi's help to properly get stronger. Meanwhile, in the present, Ruka apologizes for all the rudeness. She's really sorry for looking down on them. She's already aware of how absurd and selfish her request is, but she wants to swallow her pride and be straightforward. Ruka hopes he can make her his disciple. Our boy agrees, which surprises her. He confirms that he is willing to make her a disciple, but she doesn't understand why he's being so nice. He calls her a weirdo for making a request and then acting this way. She knows he's right, but doesn't understand why he's still being so kind, especially after she did such horrible things to him. He makes it clear that he has already accepted her apology and forgiven her, so that's all there is to it. She is left speechless. Katsuragi uses this opportunity to make the same request. The protagonist agrees since it isn't really that hard to teach two people, and the guy is happy to hear this. Yuika tells her older sister that her friend is just really kind. Katsuragi calls him mysterious as well. Later that day, the protagonist gets called to the conference room. Shido introduces himself as a member of the Metropolitan Police Department from the Beast Countermeasures Division. Sonata introduces herself as well. They both bow their heads and show gratitude, admitting that without his assistance, both the civilians and their teammates would have been killed instantly. Kusanagi wonders if they need anything else and assures him to stop thanking him as they've been constantly showing their gratitude for a while now. He believes it is enough. Shido informs him that the investigation is already over, but there is something that grabbed his attention. Kusanagi wonders what it is. Shido shares that he learned our boy got his magic powers after getting involved in some kind of traffic accident. His classmates and the people around him are saying the same thing. But one student even said the protagonist turned into a whole new person after the car accident. Kusanagi remains silent and listens to the investigation. Shido learned that his personality changed completely, and out of nowhere his magic power became extremely strong as well. So strong that he was effortlessly able to defeat a demon captain. Yuika requests him to stop and questions what he's trying to say. Shido decides to change the question and asks if he knows anything about someone called the Black Magician. Our boy doesn't recognize the name, but the guy shows him a video and elaborates that the Black Magician is someone who defeated magical beasts and cleaned the area while protecting people. He keeps his face hidden and only comes out at night. Shido is surprised he didn't watch such a famous video. The protagonist understands what they're trying to say. Yuika intervenes and questions why he's telling all of this to Kusanagi.
Shidu answers with a smile, saying they are both similar, not just in age but in size and height as well. Shidu learned that the Black Magician is a strong and capable individual. He doubts any students around his age are capable of such feats. The other weird thing is that the Black Magician started his activities at the same time our boy got discharged from the hospital. Since it's completely illegal to use magic in the city without a real permit or qualification, if a student gets caught using it, then the academy will have to handle most of it. But since it's gotten so much public attention recently, there's no choice left for the police. So they had to get involved and take action. Shidu makes it clear that just expulsion won't be enough. But if the protagonist confesses, they are willing to do him a favor and lessen his punishment. So he needs to answer carefully. Shidu asks once more if he is the Black Magician. Kusanagi answers negatively with zero expression. Shidu looks relieved and smiles, happy to hear that our boy is not the Black Magician. The guy thanks him for everything and decides to leave for now. As he leaves the room, Shidu is surprised that our boy didn't show a single expression.
He phrases his courage to lie so openly if he really is the Black Magician. He admits Kusanagi is nothing like a normal student and believes he is hiding something. Sanada already knows Kusanagi is the Black Magician since their voices are similar. She wonders if his intentions were purely to save people that night. Sanada decides to keep his identity hidden. Even though she knows this can be counted as a failure for a policeman, she believes the protagonist is a kind person. Shidu decides to try his best to reveal the Black Magician's identity, while Sanada thinks about keeping it hidden and helping the guy however she can. After a while, the homeroom teacher of the S-class introduces both Mizuo Yuika and Kusanagi Minato to the whole class. She hopes the other students can get along with them. The students start asking if he really is the one who defeated the demon captain. The girls ask Yuika how she feels being a noble mage. The teacher advises everyone to sit down as the class is about to begin. She is surprised to see how famous both new students are. Kusanagi had to answer questions all day and he feels horrible. He remembers this is the reason he was trying to keep his identity hidden. He hears someone call him from behind. Our boy looks back and finds the girl he saved earlier standing in front of him. She hopes he doesn't mind giving her a little bit of his time. As the boy finds himself on the rooftop again, he wonders if it is some kind of norm to always go to the top whenever you have to talk about something. Yua follows him and looks at what's happening from behind a wall. She was hoping she could get some private training in and wonders why he is on the rooftop. She feels a bit jealous seeing him alone with a girl and tries to see what they're trying to do. The girl asks if he still remembers her, but our boy says he doesn't. He reminds him he's the one who saved her during the calamity and he finally remembers who she is. The girl recalls that she was about to die because of the magical beasts at the combat lesson, but then somebody used their magic and saved her. She believes the one behind that magic attack was also Kusanagi. He remembers it and she starts thanking him for saving her life. He doesn't mind it and says he just did what he could. The girl starts blushing and calls him cool. Yua tries her best to listen to what they are saying, but she is barely able to hear anything. The girl reveals her feelings and says she is in love with our boy. She hopes he goes on a date with her. Yuika is shocked to learn she is confessing her feelings. The protagonist barely looks surprised. She knows she doesn't have many positive things, but she assures him she will do her best, so she hopes he can make her his girlfriend. Kusanagi smiles and thanks the girl for the confession. She starts smiling, but he continues to talk and says he is sorry. Her smile drops instantly. He politely tells her he doesn't have any time to start dating anyone right now since he has to do something very important. She understands his reasoning and tries to smile again. She's glad he was straightforward with her and decides to give up on him now. The girl leaves the rooftop with tears in her eyes. Kusanagi advises Yuka to stop hiding and just come out. She gets caught and comes out with an awkward smile. She thought she hit her mana well this time and wonders how he noticed. He calls her mana control horrible and lets her know it is literally spilling everywhere. This is the second time he caught her sneaking around like this. He wonders if she has a peeping fetish. Yuika embarrassingly tells him she just came at the wrong time. She wasn't hoping to listen to anything. She asks why he rejected such a cute and pretty girl. Kusanagi makes it clear that he doesn't want to go out with anyone right now. She is surprised, but he thinks he is just too far apart in age, even though he is physically in the same school year as them. Yuika starts feeling glad as she learns he doesn't want to go out with anyone. She doesn't understand why she feels so relieved to hear that he isn't planning on dating anyone. She looks at him with a concerned face. Kusanagi advises her to start working on her mana control as it is completely horrible. He believes she needs a lot more practice. She assures him she is aware and becomes determined to work as hard as she can to surpass her current strength so that someday he can finally acknowledge her. During nighttime, the protagonist reaches another area filled with monsters. He wonders if a new calamity is going to appear since they keep increasing. He hears a girl scream for help. A man uses his magic illegally to harass a girl. He tells her it's pointless to scream since there is no one around. Kusanagi intervenes and shows the guy there is still someone around. The thug becomes surprised, but our boy doesn't give him any time and quickly punches his stomach. He uses his magic to knock the guy unconscious. He learns it's just an amateur mage and a thug, but his close combat skills are horrible.
He guesses the guy isn't used to fighting mages. The girl he saved thanks him and questions if he is the Black Mage. He becomes annoyed and quickly leaves while ignoring her words. Kusanagi realizes the Black Mage all the students and the policeman mentioned was him all along. He doesn't understand how he became so popular. The next day, while eating with his friends, the protagonist talks about the Black Mage. He remembers Shidu talked about an amateur mage who only comes out at night. He heard many people talk about it, so he's just curious. Katsuragi guesses it is because the Black Mage has gotten really popular on the internet. Our boy asks what the internet is with an innocent face. He wonders if it is something similar to a fishing net. Everyone is shocked to hear this. They all wonder if he is crazy. In this era, it's hard for them to believe he doesn't know something like the internet. They understand he is very isolated and lives under a rock, but this is worse than what they were expecting.
Uka explains the internet is an information network that covers the whole globe. Anyone can share any kind of information on it, so things like the Black Mage spread instantly. People can also find anything there, and since it has pictures and videos, it practically holds everything. Kusanagi finally understands it. Katsuragi helps him understand he can access any kind of information on his smartphone. He asks the boy to pull it out and try opening a random application. Kusanagi's face brightens up and he smiles uncontrollably as he finally opens a search engine. They all praise him and explain he can use the internet to see anything now. Our boy calls it easy. Ruka remembers he promised to help them train. She is wondering when they begin their training. Kusanagi agrees on training them once the school ends, as they also helped him learn how to use a smartphone. He thinks about doing his best to train them well. Yuika expects something bad will happen as she hears his words. During their training, all three of them get tired and fall to the ground. Kusanagi is disappointed as they haven't even warmed up yet. He wants them to train like their life depends on it. They all get up once more and assure him they won't go down so easily. He is glad to hear this and orders them to come attack him with everything they have. They pull out their magic circles and follow his orders. Somewhere else, near the Tokyo Tower, a few men remember everything was completely normal a few seconds ago. As they both observe the red sky, they both become terrified and wonder what's happening. A huge army of monsters filled with multiple demon soldiers and demon captains appear. As they all continue their training, all three of them fall back down. He asks if they have given up already. Ruka and Katsuragi attack him at once, determinedly telling him they haven't given up yet. He uses a barrier to protect himself and shoots his magic bullets to defeat them with zero effort. They both get hurt, but Uka sneaks up from behind and tries to catch him off guard. He is easily able to dodge her, and again uses the same attack to defeat Yuika as well. Kusanagi announces break time and lets all of them rest for a little bit. They're all relieved as they can finally catch their breath. Uka drinks some water, while Katsuragi points out that the protagonist is just too overpowered. Ruka agrees with him and is surprised that even a top student can't come close to his strength. Uka confirms it as well and believes he is different from all the students. She observes his face and finds his usual annoyed look again. Kusanagi reveals he almost lost his life in a car accident, and when he finally opened his eyes, he had obtained these mysterious powers. He doesn't know the reason either, so he orders them to stop bothering him about it. Ruka understands he unlocked his powers on the brink of death, and it seems to have triggered something inside him. Yuka is able to see right through the guy. She knows why he's making those expressions and is disappointed to see how gullible the other two are. She believes there is a good reason behind why he doesn't want to tell anyone the truth since he is trying so hard to hide it. She decides to forget about it for now. Kusanagi is able to fool them easily and feels glad they're gullible. They finally end the training session as the sun starts setting. Katsuragi calls it a great training session. Our boy calls him tough as he observes his attitude. Katsuragi guesses it is because he used to train alone before this. He feels really hungry and shares that he has to go back home and cook food. The protagonist is surprised to hear that he cooks food himself. He didn't expect a guy to be like this, judging by his appearance. Katsuragi gets a bit angry as he hears such harsh words. He asked if the protagonist always goes outside to eat. He answers that he just lives on cup noodles, which surprises the guy. Kusanagi is surprised to learn how convenient the new world is. His friend warns him about such unhealthy habits and points out that his body won't survive like this. The protagonist feels a bit weird seeing how concerned he is. Katsuragi grabs him and decides to take the guy to his place so they can eat together. Our boy tries to resist, but he doesn't leave and drags him away.
Kusanagi smiles and feels glad to have such a friend. As they both reach his apartment, our boy ends up getting stuck with the kids while Katsuragi cooks food for all of them. He apologizes after he's done cooking, but notices the protagonist taking care of them using magic. The protagonist assures him not to worry. He uses magic to create bubbles for the kids. Katsuragi calls him an idiot for his behavior and advises him not to use magic in his apartment. He is surprised to see magic can be used for such things. The little kid comforts our boy after he gets scolded. Katsuragi is shocked to learn he is really good at taking care of kids. The protagonist suddenly remembers the calamity in his past life. He calls kids precious. Katsuragi calls him an old man for how he sounds, but our boy orders him to shut his mouth. He starts enjoying as he helps the kids read a book. They all start eating together and thank God for the food. The kids happily eat the delicious meals. The protagonist tries it and is surprised to find out how good it is. He gets teary as he tries to remember the last time he had a good meal. He regrets not taking care of himself because he was focusing on fighting for a very long time. Kusanagi asks his friend about his parents. The guy shares he doesn't have a father. Since his mother has to work till late at night, he is the one who does the household work and takes care of the kids. He even has to do a part-time job when he is free. Kusanagi is shocked to hear his routine, but he assures him he likes taking care of his family. The protagonist understands it and remembers he is a complete musclehead who likes challenging stuff. They all end up sleeping together. He apologizes to Kusanagi for having him sleep at their house because of the selfish kids. He doesn't mind it and feels good doing such a thing for a change of pace. Katsuragi is relieved and shows his gratitude.
The protagonist doesn't understand why he's thanking him, but the guy elaborates that it is about Ruka. She looks happier these days, and he believes it is all thanks to Kusanagi. Our boy wonders if this is something related to love. He asks the guy if he holds feelings for Ruka, but Katsuragi answers negatively. He shares they are both misfits who don't get along well with others, so they naturally became great friends. Kusanagi finds it similar to his situation. The next day, both Kusanagi and his friend walk together towards school. Yuika frustratingly wonders why they're so late. Katsuragi shares that the protagonist kept sleeping. They both find out the boys had a sleepover together. Yuika gets jealous and asks if they did training together. Kusanagi wonders why they're meeting like it is natural. He admits he is enjoying it. Shido appears with Sanada and requests our boy to give him a few minutes. The protagonist is annoyed to see them again. Shido apologizes for disturbing the guy again, but reveals it is something urgent. Sanada explains beasts are suddenly appearing out of nowhere near the Tokyo Tower. She believes it is something related to the calamity, so they want to request Kusanagi's cooperation in the matter. He tries to avoid it as he is just a student, but Shido doesn't think it is right to call someone like him a student since he is capable of stopping calamities all by himself. He tries to be straightforward and shares it's too much for the police to handle, which is why they need his assistance. Kusanagi asks if it is okay for them to reveal such stuff, but Shido tells him they have no choice since they've been completely cornered. He formally requests the protagonist to help them face the monsters. Kusanagi agrees with them. He was hoping to avoid standing out, but the situation keeps getting worse. Shido promises he will get proper compensation and that he doesn't have to contact the academy. Yuika and her friends decide to help as well. Ruka is confident they can provide support from the rear, and Katsuragi agrees with them. Shido thanks them for their effort, but refuses to let them come along as it is just not possible. Ruka tries to convince him, but Shido doesn't believe they are capable of fighting in a real battle since they are just the top students of their academy. He asks if any of them come close to Kusanagi's level. They all become ashamed and speechless. Shido advises them to head toward the academy while he invites Kusanagi to come with him. The protagonist hopes his friends can someday catch up to him, and they all become motivated, confidently answering that they will. At the police headquarters, our boy ends up being involved in a conference. A man explains that hundreds of magical beasts are appearing close to the Tokyo Tower, and they need to quickly form a plan and take action before any civilians get hurt. He shares that they even have a student on their side who played a huge role in the previous calamity that happened recently at the Magic Academy. He asks the protagonist to stand up. He follows the guy's instructions, and some men talk about him behind his back.
One of them doesn't understand why a literal kid is involved in their business. The other guy explains that Kusanagi is the one who finished off the demon captain all by himself during the last calamity. He calls it bullcrap, since it's hard to believe. Sanada feels embarrassed. Shido speaks up and tells everyone that Kusanagi really is the student who stopped the calamity and even defeated the demon captain all by himself. Shido gives his word as he saw everything happening from up close. He believes there is no one on the same power level as the protagonist since our boy was involved in the calamity that happened after 50 years. Shido thinks it is a good decision to have him cooperate with them. He hopes everyone will treat the boy as their partner instead of a student. The men still don't believe it and think he's just a mere student acting all high and mighty, even though he's in a place filled with so many professionals. The leader tells them their goal is still the same, even with a new face among them. He orders them to immediately take action and kill the monsters. As everyone leaves, Shido finds the boy and apologizes for what he had to listen to. Kusanagi thinks it's okay and guesses his arrival just put them in a bad mood. Shido is surprised by his maturity and realizes he should focus on Sanata instead. She starts sobbing and tells him she was just too terrified to stop the men. Kusanagi assures her not to worry, as he doesn't give a about what a few men have to say about him. She starts smiling and calls him a wonderful person. As they all drive toward the Tokyo Tower, Kusanagi asks about the approximate combat power they have right now. The policeman answers that they have 80 mages. Only a few among them are high rank, while the rest are just middle rank mages. Our boy knows middle rank mages are capable of using level 2 magic, while the high rank ones can use up to level 3. Shido admits it sounds very pitiful, but the protagonist is the strongest mage among everyone since he is capable of using level 4 synthesis magic. Kusanagi asks if they will follow some kind of plan, but Shido disappointingly tells him it is going to be a magic battle purely so they can't follow any kind of plans. He believes they can win easily if they only face demon soldiers and magical beasts, but anyone higher than the demon captain will require proper planning and countermeasures, because they have high intelligence and immense power. Shido doubts such a straightforward battle plan is worthy of being called a combat strategy. Kusanagi points out that he hasn't noticed any special equipment anywhere so far that could defeat monsters. The policeman shares that they don't have anything that stands a chance against magic and beasts, which is why they just wear clothes that are easy to move in or suits whenever they enter any sort of battle.
The protagonist remembers they used to have anti-beast equipment. But Shido answers there is barely any left right now, and it has become very rare. Only the mage nobles have such equipment. Kusanagi is shocked to learn this, as he remembers such magic equipment used to be common around his time. He understands the usage of magic and mages declined because of peaceful times, but this much change is just absurd. He becomes curious about what happened during the past 50 years. Shido observes his expressions carefully, wondering what he's thinking about. They all finally reach the Tokyo Tower. Kusanagi finds out there is no calamity going on, but the number of monsters appearing is abnormal. He wonders what is going on. The trash-talking policemen from earlier are shocked by the numbers as well. They didn't get informed about this in the report, and as they both spot a demon captain among the monsters, they become completely hopeless and decide to seek support from special organizations or noble mages since it's out of their hands. Shido assures him he has already called for backup, but it's not going to arrive so quickly. Since the number of beasts keeps increasing and illegal mage activities are happening more than before, the organizations already have too much on their plates. The policemen ask if they don't have any other choice but to face such strong monsters themselves. They believe it's a suicide mission and become hesitant. Shido has no choice left, so he swallows his pride and requests the protagonist for help. He asks if they can be defeated. Our boy answers positively. The trash talkers start doubting him, and it's hard for them to believe a random brat can win against so many monsters. Kusanagi notices something weird, and they wonder what he's on about. As the monsters become more active, suddenly the sky changes its color and turns red. Sanada and the other policemen realize a calamity is about to happen. Shido gives a message to every single post from the police headquarters that a calamity has appeared across Japan. As the civilians start getting attacked by magical beasts, Shido repeats his words that a calamity has occurred.
He orders everyone to make people their priority and save civilians from any harm. Since they're stuck dealing with it in an urban area, they need to take countermeasures quickly. Shido and his men are worried to see what's happening, but our boy remains unfazed. The policemen see the calamity appearing again and become terrified. They question why it's happening. The protagonist knows a calamity is a natural phenomenon, but he notices this one is happening because of the magical beasts from earlier. He doesn't know how they caused it, but wonders if they learned a new way to create one in the last 50 years. Shido's men tell him they can't fight a losing battle with no backup. They need to reorganize first. The calamity starts moving and the beasts begin heading toward the city area filled with civilians. The policemen start arguing with each other. Some believe it is going to harm the civilians, so they don't have a choice but to go and defeat the monsters. The other policemen call it a suicide mission and believe they can't win. Someone comments that the police have become pitiful, which angers the guy who doesn't want to go. He makes it clear that they just can't win against so many magical beasts. Kusanagi jumps off the building while telling everyone they can definitely win. He smiles and starts using his magic circles to head toward the monsters. He lands between them, and as the monsters notice him, they all begin rushing toward him to attack. The policemen warn him to quickly run or else he's going to lose his life. Kusanagi pulls out third-level magic called Wind Cutter, leaving everyone speechless. The monsters die instantly, but a few demon soldiers become active. They throw multiple attacks toward our boy, but he remains unscathed because of his shields. Since the barrier ends up being very useful, he decides to put one up for the bystanders so no one gets hurt during the calamity. As he cuts through more monsters, Shido is astonished by his strength. He doesn't believe someone is capable of using several magic attributes at once.